So, and his fascist cult were just dealt a devastating loss at the hands of voters, which is a great thing for this country. And it should inspire you that we can and we will defeat these people. But understand that there will be a reaction to this. Donald Trump is going to get worse. He is going to lash out. He is going to seek to punish people, to inflict even more pain on people, to exercise more illegal control over people. Perhaps this will, cause him to use the military in other more oppressive ways. The point is, it's going to get worse. But don't let that intimidate you or get you down or despirit you, because that was always going to be the case. Donald Trump and the Republican Party are on their way out. Yesterday marked the beginning of the end for them. The Republican Party is in its death throes. They committed suicide as a party about 10 years ago. The death isn't going to be immediate, but they've been dying as a party for the last 10 years. It's been masked by the fact that Republicans control both houses of Congress. Trump won the White House last year. So it sort of covered up the fact that the party is actually in the process of dying as a political party. When they decided to give their party over to Donald Trump and to become a personality cult rather than a political party, they sealed their fate. And they dealt themselves the fatal blow back in 2016, and every day since.
I'm picking up whiffs of hope. I'm picking up a little whiff of happiness and joy, because today is election day, November 4th, 2025, and I am looking for top 4 races, but a 5th that I really am looking out for as well. First and foremost, Zohran Mamdani. We need that W in NYC. Just a matter of how big the margin will be. Second would be California voting yes on Prop 50 in order to redistrict California to combat what Texas has done and what other Republican-led states have done so. Then we get into the governor's race. I think Virginia, we're going to win by 10 points or more. In New Jersey, that's the one people are a little skeptical on. I think she wins by 6+ points. I would love for her to get to double digits. We need to get out the vote. And finally, I think Miami is very interesting. Very crowded mayor field down there, 13 candidates. If a Democrat can win and take back the mayorship of Miami, Florida, that could be huge as a little test of what's happening around the country.
Good morning, y'all. So, we have fantastic news from last night's elections. In Virginia, the Democratic candidate for governor won the race by a landslide against her Republican opponent. Same thing happened in New Jersey as well. These were both states which Republicans had previously believed to be battleground states for them, and were proven wrong in a very big way. In addition, Zohran Mamdani didn't just win the mayor's seat for New York, he won it by nearly 10%. Which means that he's clearly popular enough that those within his state are going to think twice before trying to oppose his policies. Meanwhile, the mayor's race in Cincinnati was between the Democratic candidate and J.D. Vance's half-brother running on the Republican ticket. I bet you want to know how much he lost by. Over 60%. He lost by over 60% of the vote. In addition, Proposition 50 passed overwhelmingly in California. This was the ballot measure to allow California to gerrymander their districts in a way that would counteract Donald Trump's attempts to rig the midterms in other states. Meaning, by the time the midterms come around next year, California is going to be able to largely wipe out any gains the Republicans make. And it's likely that Illinois and New York are going to follow. In Pennsylvania, the Supreme Court that Republicans were expecting to flip in their favor to influence the midterm elections in that state stayed in Democratic control by overwhelming margins. In Minnesota, the mayor's race of Minneapolis between Omar Fateh and the current incumbent Frey has gotten so close that it's going to a second round of ranked choice voting. There are two things you should take away from last night. The first is this: have hope, because there is abundant reason to have hope right now. Second message to take away from last night: the Republicans are in worse trouble than they thought. That's all. Have a good day.
America showed up last night like it was Black Friday at Target and democracy was on clearance, baby. I'm talking about a historic turnout in multiple states. People didn't just vote. They marched to those polls like it was a family reunion. You heard me. Everybody made it clear they are tired. They're tired of the federal government doing the bare minimum and Republicans sitting by and doing nothing. We've got to be honest here. Republicans are not governing. Republicans are keeping this government locked up tighter than a Walmart cabinet, letting the president just do whatever he wants to do. And then conservatives will have the nerve to complain about it. Make it make sense. Now, I want to send a shout out to all the winners last night, too. Ma'am Donnie is stepping into that mayoral seat in New York City. Abigail Spanberger won her seat like she was training for the political Olympics. That's how you do it, y'all. That's how you do it. But listen, don't get too comfortable, okay? Because y'all keep asking me, who's going to save America? And I keep telling you to look in the mirror because you are going to save America. You and your vote. So when the next batch of elections come around, like around midterms, I don't want to hear no excuses. Do you understand me? Show up, show out, and put democracy back on the throne. Because sitting it out, that's how we get chaos every damn time.
Well, I think it's time for them to end the filibuster and just put everybody back to work. Vote in voter ID, vote in no mail-in voting except for military, faraway military, and people that are very sick. I'd like to see one-day voting. I'd like to see not 65 days of voting from all over the place. No, I'd like to clean up the elections.
Oh, he is terrified. He is fucking terrified. Imagine your response to the voters showing you that they do not approve of you. Instead of govern on their behalf and change what the fuck you're doing, your response is we need to restrict voting. We need to disenfranchise voters even more, even though I already have Texas and North Carolina and other states gerrymandering their districts to hell so that Republicans can cheat. These elections that Democrats just swept, having Zohran Mamdani elected in New York, having New Jersey elect a woman, they are fucking terrified of what's to come during the midterms. Mike Johnson was scrambling all day today, trying to find a way to be like, well, you know, I'm trying to spread the truth the best, but it seems like everybody's being misinformed. No, the American people are fucking waking up. We're tired of the bullshit. We're tired of the lies. We're tired of the deceit. We are tired of you guys stripping civil rights away, and we are getting you the fuck out.
To paraphrase a meme from the No Kings protests, the way that I know that these Democrats sweeping the elections yesterday was such a big deal is because the MAGA has spent the last 24 hours pretending it's nothing. We've got MAGA all over social media and here on TikTok making videos saying, well, what does it have to do with New Jersey and Virginia winning these governors? What does that have anything to do with Trump? It has to do with people disliking not only Trump, but the Republicans. Because Jack Ciattarelli in New Jersey was endorsed by Donald Trump, and he lost by 13 points. Andrew Cuomo was endorsed by Trump, and he lost by 9 points. But the biggest one you can really look at is that Prop 50 in California passed overwhelmingly by nearly 30 points. Very few proposals in modern history win overwhelmingly by that much. And this proposal in California was a direct response to the Texas gerrymandering going on by Republicans. So by a 30-point spread, people said that yes, the Democrats should be allowed to do this in order to combat what the Republicans are doing. You can tell that people are pretty sick of Donnie and his entourage, especially when his words of wisdom are crazy batshit things like this. And as usual, just calling him a communist. These people need to change the fucking record. But like I said before, this massive rebuking of the Republican Party is going to cause a lot of them to do an about-face. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been disagreeing with Trump and the Republicans for a while, but we found out recently it's because Trump refused to let her run for the Senate, and she's now on a revenge tour. But when the hell would we ever picture her speaking like this?
I think that all of us right here are doing a great job of exchanging our ideas and things that we believe in, and we're doing it in a very professional and kind way. And in my opinion, I think we need more of that in America. I really do.
That wasn't on my bingo card. And while Trump has been trying for weeks to blame the government shutdown on the Democrats, he's now saying, oh, the reason the Democrats won in these elections is because of the shutdown. So which is it, Donnie? Because people are well aware now that the government is shut down because you tried to take away health care from 20 million people. Keep trying to blame everybody else for your fuck-ups, Donnie. I'm sorry your dad never hugged you.
Democrats won big on election night on Tuesday, which unfortunately for Republicans means that they lost big. And loss can be hard to deal with. That's why it's so important to understand the stages that many people use to process their loss and grief. So I want to take you through the 5 stages of grief that conservatives seem to be going through right now. Otherwise known as the Kubler-Ross model, the 5 stages of grief are a template of the mourning process, and the steps that many people naturally take in their healing journey. The first step is often denial, a common defense mechanism that helps you combat the initial shock by saying the bad thing that happened didn't actually happen, or if it did, it's not as bad as I think it is.
Did you expect any different result? Because I didn't.
Blue states and blue cities went blue. That was no surprise to anyone.
Democrats sweep blue states. How was that a surprise?
Every result was entirely predictable.
You see, these Democratic wins aren't a surprise because they're exactly what we were expecting to happen. By the way, here's Sean Hannity before the results came in, talking about the New Jersey governor's race.
In New Jersey, the gubernatorial race remains neck and neck.
Huh. For something that was very predictable, you sure had a hard time predicting it. The next stage of grief in the model is anger. When someone is overwhelmed by their emotions, they can often lash out at themselves, other people, inanimate objects, or more commonly for conservatives, women and minorities.
People with college degrees, many degrees, and they're young. A lot of them are women. You're in an apartment. It's small. It's very small and it's very expensive. And you haven't gotten married and had kids and moved out to the suburbs like everybody else. And the apartment's getting really expensive because all of these migrants are here now. You should have gotten a degree in like chemistry, biology, finance, computer science. Something useful in this high-tech AI economy. No, but you got a degree in like Southeast Asian feminist literature.
How dare those unmarried women with degrees in Southeast Asian feminist literature choose such a useless non-STEM major, says the man who majored in history at Trinity College. It's their fault for not moving out to the suburbs like the rest of us, which, yeah, that's why they're voting in the New York City election. Because they live in New York City and not the suburbs. And don't forget foreigners who raised the price of housing all by themselves. We didn't lose because nobody liked our policies or candidates. We lost because women and foreigners dared to live in the city that, again, Jesse Waters does not live in. The next stage is bargaining. People processing grief often make negotiations with themselves to regain some control over the situation. Maybe I can avoid this feeling if I do something different, if I just try harder.
This isn't a rebuke of Trump. It's a consequence of an absent Republican Party.
These were all blue states. Trump didn't campaign there. He didn't spend money there. And the candidates Republicans ran were not very good.
We only lost because the Republican Party didn't try hard enough and didn't run likable enough candidates. I mean, sure, New York had the highest turnout for a mayoral election in half a century, so maybe you can't blame it all on not trying hard enough. But if we had just paraded around the guy with a 39% approval rating, then everything would be fine. The next stage is depression. Once the reality of your grief sets in, you may find yourself catastrophizing your loss and feeling intense sadness about your situation.
We have an actual communist jihadist. He is a Marxist. That is profoundly dangerous.
This is a man who wants to have government-run supermarkets, ration food. He's going to tell people how many loaves of bread we can have in New York City.
It's so over. Not only did New York elect a socialist, they elected a communist, Marxist, jihadist, and other focus group tested buzzwords designed to frighten the median voter. I guess New York is going to have to get used to waiting in line for bread, which is, you know, an ironic as hell thing to say at the moment when the current Republican Party has been halting SNAP benefits for millions of people. And finally comes the stage of acceptance. This stage isn't about feeling good about the loss that you've faced, but understanding it and accepting it for what it is. So far, none of these people have reached that stage yet, but one can hope.
26. I will just point out, however, that the redistricting wars that California continued tonight are probably going to net out to Republican benefit. And if the Supreme Court tosses out Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, it may net out 12 to 19 more seats for the Republicans. So I'm holding my predictive fire until I see how the maps turn out. But I'm not going to freak out about blue states voting for Democrats.
That's very telling, because it sounds like the strategy is don't fix any of the electoral political problems, just fix the maps. Is that right?
Well, no. What problems?
Last night we saw a Democratic shift in 99.8% of the counties that held elections in Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Jersey, and Georgia. And if this is not a warning sign for the GOP, I don't know what will be. Tonight was a positive and hopeful night, not just for Democrats, but for Americans who are interested in actual change. People showed that they are tired of the mudslinging, the negativity, the hatred. They're tired of people hearing who they're going to attack. They want to hear, what are you actually going to do for me? We saw exciting outcomes all over the country. Mary Sheffield is the first female mayor in Detroit. Abigail Spanberger is the first female governor in Virginia. Mikey Sherrill defeated the Trump-backed Jack Ciattarelli in the New Jersey governor race, and Zohran Mamdani defeated the Trump-backed Andrew Cuomo in New York City. When you look at the data in some of these counties, it is eye-opening. In Union City in 2024, in the presidential race, Kamala Harris got 11,316 votes to Donald Trump's 7,940, and in the 2025 governor race, Mikey Sherrill received 13,304 to Ciattarelli's 2,402. That's some interesting data. In addition to the election of Spanberger in Virginia, we also saw the election of Lieutenant Governor Ghazala Hashmi. She is the first Muslim woman to ever win a statewide race in the United States. Saw Prop 50 pass in California, ushering in congressional redistricting, which the Trump administration brought upon themselves. Saw the most votes cast in the New York City mayoral race since 1969, over 2 million votes. And to everyone that said, oh, Curtis Sliwa is going to make it so Cuomo can't win, even if Cuomo got every single one of those votes, he would still be losing. Shout out to the 6,382 legitimate robots that voted for Eric Adams. So interesting note, courtesy of ABC, 4 in 10 voters said that their candidate's position on that place was a major factor in their vote. It's funny, looking at exit polling around the country, nobody seems to care about immigration. What they care about is the economy, and Democrats slaughtered Republican candidates on that issue. I wanted to shout out my state of Pennsylvania, where 3 Democratic Supreme Court justices were retained, maintaining the 5-2 majority there. Looking around, the results were eye-opening. In the New Jersey presidential election last year, Kamala Harris got 52% of the vote, with Donald Trump getting 46%. Mikey Sherrill's numbers, that margin has widened just a year later. Again, Jack Ciattarelli is a Trump ally. He was endorsed. I wanted to shout out J.D. Vance's half-brother, who got absolutely massacred in the mayoral race in Cincinnati. Something that will be interesting to watch is you had 2 very boilerplate moderate Democrats win in Abigail and Mikey, and you had a Democratic socialist who was obviously far more on the left in Zohran Mamdani win in New York. So the Democratic Party kind of has to make a choice about what direction they want to move in. We have the favorites to be the Democratic nominee in 2028. We have Gavin Newsom at a 38% chance and AOC at 13%. That being said, all of these candidates ran very good, very clear, very personal campaigns, and listening to their speeches last night, they were centered on positivity and hope. All of their opponents attacked them personally, and what they did was tell people what they're actually going to do for them. All of their constituents, Republicans and Democrats.
Trump destroy early momentum in post-election comeback in a stunning twist after Donald Trump returned to the White House. The first big elections across America have sent shockwaves through the political scene. The Democratic Party has pulled off major victories, flipping key races in Virginia, tightening control in New Jersey, and securing strong wins in California and New York City. These results are more than just local triumphs. They signal that the Democrats are regaining their ground and fast. Political insiders say the message is clear. Voters may be pushing back against Trump's new wave of policies. Every ballot cast in these states feels like a warning sign for what could come next in Washington. Behind-the-scenes party strategists are calling these results a wake-up call for the Trump administration, proof that public confidence may be slipping faster than expected. Analysts point to growing frustration over the economy, immigration and social divisions, all fueling this Democratic resurgence. As Trump's team scrambles to downplay the losses, Democrats are celebrating, confident that this unexpected surge could shape the battles ahead. With renewed energy and a sharpened message, they are already turning their eyes toward the 2026 midterms, hoping to expand this wave even further. One thing is for sure, America's political war has just entered a whole new phase, and the fight...
I wonder how last night is going to impact... We know how it's going to impact the Republican strategy because Trump talked about it today. It's not. You know, they're
They're a
doubling
bunch
down.
of communists. If you don't elect Republicans next year, the communists are invading Washington.
So I wonder now, how far the Democrats are going to take this after last night. If they are bolstered by what happened and they're also going to double down, which means this is just going to keep on going for who knows how long, or if they are going to say, you know what, we've made a point, we've proven a point. I mean, maybe they'll cave, but
it seems like what I was hearing today from folks is the sort of moderate Democrats are talking to their leadership, the moderate Republicans talking to their leadership. And I would be shocked if we wake up on Monday morning and they're still shut down. Lisa, I have a sense that they're going to have to find, the deal with negotiation is both sides have to declare victory. I've achieved something, right? You're like, okay, so what was the point of this whole thing? What did we get out of it, right?
Right.
And we had Senator Mark Kelly on our podcast, the Mo News podcast last week, Democrat from Arizona.
Yeah.
And I said, like, how long can this thing go? Like, people are calling you up. He's like, yeah, people come out. He's like, but at the end of the day, like 20-something million Americans on ACA are going to lose their healthcare service. And that's the bigger fight for us. I go, but how long can this go on?
Right.
And I think he, has to defer to leadership on this. Schumer, like, did you get a promise from the Republicans that they're going to vote on the ACA? Like, what? They need something firm. It sounds like the Democrats need some firm promise. If they're not going to get a full vote
Right.
on the premiums, on the healthcare premiums, subsidies, that they need like something of substance, that they have gotten a concession out of Republicans for this, 4 or 5 week shutdown.
yeah. But if Republicans are looking to their leader Donald Trump on this,
Yes.
he doesn't want to appear like he's giving anything.
No.
And so it's like this like stalemate of. Now I agree with you
Both
that
sides think they're winning.
right. Now I agree with you though. I think that if Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, and the FAA actually start cutting flights, and then if you heard Duffy today, he's like, there could be more if this continues. We're going to increase the cutting of our capacity. I think as soon as, people start in mass missing flights, horrible delays, stuck at airports overnight, like you were saying, and like I've been reporting before, airline chaos is what is going to bring everybody to the table.
Because
There
who
has
else is affected by that? Congress. They have to
every
fly
one of
them.
them.
My critique is not being focused on America first, but I largely blame that on our Congress because I serve in the House. I also blame that on who's advising him in the White House. Keeping him on nonstop tours around the world and nonstop meetings with foreign countries' leaders is not America first. It's just not. I think domestic policy should be the most important issue that the president and the Republican-controlled House and Senate are working on, and that showed up in the election on Tuesday.
But as the president, does he get some responsibility for that?
Well, of course. I mean, every president is responsible for the way that they lead, but they're also in a silo of information. And I think that's why after the election on Tuesday, you saw President Trump come out and react differently. Probably because they couldn't keep him siloed. And here's the polls, sir, and this is what people are saying. I think he saw for himself, and he's reacted.
It's very interesting. You're an influential Republican in the House of Representatives, and we hear you breaking with your party on several issues, like the shutdown, the government shutdown, health care, foreign policy, the Epstein files. You say that's nothing new, but Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's arguing that this is all a, quote, revenge tour on your part because President Trump prevented you from running for Georgia's Senate seat next year. Is there any truth to her claim?
No, there's no truth to it. I actually put out a statement earlier this summer on why I didn't want to run for Senate. And if you look at the gridlock in the Senate right now, that actually I find repulsive, it just shows, why would I'm a serious person. I like to achieve things. I never want to go work somewhere where you can get nothing done.
So do you have any ambitions for a statewide or nationwide office?
So everyone's asking me that, and I think it's because Washington has never seen someone come in with pure intentions. I'm literally one of those disenfranchised, forgotten Americans that feels like the government has failed them, and I just so happened to get elected to Congress. So I didn't come in here with some sort of career or desire to just continue climbing the ladder. All I really want to do is do the job that I'm doing right now, and I'm trying very hard to do it, but we can't even go to work. So it's pretty hard to do it.
Are you completely ruling out the possibility of running for president in 2028?
So that was a rumor that got started yesterday, completely baseless. I never said I was running for president in 2028. I said I wasn't running for governor in this upcoming election. I said I wasn't running for Senate in this upcoming election, and I haven't said I'm running for president. Think about this. I'm against foreign wars, so the military-industrial complex. Do you think they'd donate to me? No. I'm against Big Pharma, so do you think Big Pharma would donate to me? No. Health insurance industry? Absolutely not. I've been burning them to the ground. So I wouldn't be a candidate that would have all that big donor money. I'd have to send out like small dollar campaign